I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The school board will convene to executive session tonight to consider the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of a district employee pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85, 4 and 1 parentheses, specifically to consider a staff member's leave request. I don't think any of the guests signed to speak, so we don't have any community comments. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And there's a long list of donations there, all to the football program. Well, anyway, $657 from Dave Catman's student program, $300 from the Surgeon Bay Visitor Center to the Rotary program, and the following donations for Spirit Wear t-shirts: Maple Lake Bank, $300, Prime Power Sports, $300, Smile Design, $300, Hatco, $650, and the Landing Resort, $300. Are those the Stronger Together shirts?
No, those are shirts that we do for the entire elementary
Okay.
students.
Okay. We will move to the administrator reports and begin with Mrs. Marcroft tonight.
Just to add, today the community programs opened up, and Sue and I's phone was ringing off and off this morning. So we've got people registered already, and it's just amazing how much the community looks forward to these programs opening up. So we're really busy this morning registering people for ceramics. So it's great. So we're really excited for the programming to start. So that's what I wanted to add.
Mr. Hills, do you have anything?
Just
Highlight?
a quick addition is Tender Tales. We are done with that. The students read, 110,275 minutes worth of reading during the Tender Tales program. So that's exciting. That's pretty much on par with what we did last year. It's just nice to get the kids to focus on that. And then the other highlight was just that the presentation I gave to the board back almost a year ago now, back in January, was picked up by ASA. They have a program called the Creating a Culture of Excellence for All, and that's in Madison toward the latter part of June this year. So they've invited us to present there.
What is the group?
It's a combination of ASA, so the Association of Wisconsin School Administrators.
Oh, okay.
WASDA is a part of that.
Uh-huh.
So is the Wisconsin Center for Education Research. They put this whole thing together. This is the second year that they've held this conference. So,
Good.
yeah, look forward to it.
Thank you. Congratulations. Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you. I just want to touch on my report on two things, but first of all, I wanted to compliment our students and staff on the Midsummer Night Dream play. I don't know if everyone was able to attend or see or who all saw it, but first of all, our students were basically speaking another language, and they just mastered it. And I remember in the beginning watching it, the hair on the back of my neck just stood up. I was just overwhelmed at how amazing our students performed such a difficult play with the dialect required to really sell that, and it just speaks volumes that, quite frankly, I don't think there's anything our students can't do. It was awesome. It was impressive. So a big thank you to Amy Ensign and Mrs. Vanderhoof for their work and help and support. And the other thing I really want to highlight is, once again, we were fortunate in October to do our senior interviews. We had representatives from many different companies. Our seniors had an opportunity to interview, and every year the feedback that we get from those representatives about how well prepared our students are, how great they do, how enjoyable the experience, how it's so much different with our students here at Sevastopol. I just want to say thank you to both Mrs. LeClaire and Mr. Phillips for bringing these people in, and everybody that was a part of the interview process to help our students be career ready. And it's really an awesome opportunity and experience.
It's nice to see all the different career exploration opportunities listed in just this one update from you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
How the students and faculty are responding to the recently signed bill in the legislature or the governor banning cell phones?
Well, I don't have that on my report, Jerry, but I'm ready for that question. But
Because we've been told at other meetings, we don't, policy is the same, but not all teachers support it, enforce it. So there are some teachers allowing cell phones in the class. I think that was told us.
no, I think our teachers do a great job of holding students accountable. I think the cool thing
The
about
president of our board told us that.
I missed that.
I get that a lot. And
That some teachers are allowing phones?
that sometimes, yeah, that in some classes that happens.
He's shaking his head too.
Well, you guys put me on the spot, and this is where I shine. I do know, like,
It
for the
wasn't
classes,
me that put you on the spot.
no, it's great. I'm glad you guys didn't have to do that. But I know,
We
like,
can
for
talk about it another time.
Mr. Kent's
You can talk about it
photography
next
class, they do use their phone for photography. They use it in the graphic arts lab. So a lot of times when that happens, Mr. Kent does ask me or lets me know, or sometimes.
If you're saying they're out enforcing it, that's fine.
Well, I'm going to say that my referrals for cell phones are low. I'm not in every room all the time, so I'm assuming that our teachers are rallying around a standard that no, the phone should not be in the classroom. I don't know. Daniel, you want to speak to that? Or?
Personally, I haven't seen cell phones in the classroom. I feel like. Where's that? Oh, sorry.
Well, I'm glad we're ahead. I'm glad that the policy was passed at least, and we're ahead of the game. And Mr. Schaefer will continue to monitor the classrooms.
See, I'm an old fart. In my era, we would hide our radios, our new they just came out with little transistor radios. Running the cord up our sleeve so we could listen to the World Series.
You can keep your electric cord hanging.
No, we actually had batteries in until the number five. And shoot, what's that?
Okay.
I know. Thank you.
We all have the gifted and talented AD report, so you were able to pose any questions you had on that. Superintendent's report.
Just want to share last week for the community, we partnered with Door County EMS and went through a drill on evacuation in case of the need. The district, it really helped us clarify some of the roles and responsibilities within the district, and we'll be continuing to work with Door County EMS services to ensure that our students have the best plan for us in case of an emergency. So great partnership with Door County, and we'll continue to move that partnership forward. Also want to just remind everybody that in January, EMS services will be doing drill practices in Sevastopol. This is a huge benefit for us as a school district to have staff in here running through those drills. It'll be on Wednesday evenings. We don't typically have events here on Wednesday evenings, and if there, for some reason we had staff or students, for example, a Wednesday evening of a board meeting, they will use a different part of the building, so they won't be in the area that we are. But again, a great partnership that we have with services. A huge shout out to FFA today for the blood drive. Great participation. I know that our door was pretty busy this morning with senior citizens coming in to be able to donate for the blood drive. So thank you so much for that. And we continue to work. We had a meeting again today. As you know, our health insurance is up for renewal for 26-27, and so we're continuing to look at every single option that we have to be able to maximize the resources that we have for the district to be able to support our staff. So we're looking at all options. We're looking at fully funded plans, we're looking at partially funded plans, and we're looking at going private. So what are the best options for us as a district? And all of that information will start coming to you in more detail in February, but I wanted to make sure that we have it on our radar. We are up for a renewal. We don't have a guaranteed rate with our current provider, Purveyor 360. We're anticipating that the rates are going to come in between 11 and 18% of an increase. So looking to see what we can do to try to get that number down.
Are we still part of the consortium or not?
We are still part of the consortium. Each one of us, so there's 5 of us in the consortium, all 4, and then Washington Island. And so for those of you that aren't familiar with health insurance, it helps when you have more people inside of your pool because it distributes the cost, right? So right now, each one of us is looking individually because, of course, every district has a little bit different data. The good thing for us as a district is that our consumption has gone down significantly. So 2 years ago, when you were in this process and you had to go into a health insurance bid, you were at 140% usage. We are now sitting between 70 and 90% usage. And so companies, and Jerry would know this, and so would Dr. Gaida, that when your usage is below 100%, your health insurance companies absolutely are more interested in bidding out on you. And so we are optimistic that we are going to have more options than just the Purveyor 360 to be able to look at insurance
Maybe
pieces.
better options too, like.
Yeah. Good.
Anything else?
That's all.
Daniel, do you have anything you want to talk on tonight?
No, but I will note that I've been in contact with our student council, and they are planning to communicate with me some possible items that they want to bring up. So that's something I'll look forward to next month.
Okay.
So, great.
Good. I do not have anything. Policy, we did have that one change, name change of policy in the consent agenda. Nothing else to report out of that meeting? Anything on the facilities?
Just a couple of pieces. We'll have a buildings and grounds meeting the first week of December. We are looking at, we've had conversation about putting up another light pole on the staff side of the parking lot between the athletic field and the parking lot. It's really dark back in there, and so when you did the construction a couple of years ago, it's all wired, it's ready to go. We have the ability to put in another pole, but we also have the ability to use the pole that's at the outer skirts of the parking lot and just get that lit. And so we'll be talking about that and what those costs are. We're also looking at additional security cameras on the press box out on the football field. And then we have a couple of cameras that we need to do some work on that are on the building to help with security in our parking lots. And we continue to work with heating, new section, old section, nothing new there. And we have a custodial position. I'll take the moment to plug to anybody that's watching. We have a full-time custodian evening position that's available.
Okay, thank you. The Sevastopol School District Middle and High School profile. Mr. Schaefer, want to speak to that this time?
Sure. I don't know exactly what you want me to talk about because I think I have everything, it's laid out. So I think I'll talk about, first of all, with our middle school, obviously we're highlighting the opportunities that our students have through the clubs. Our overall score and the fact, we're highlighting some of the things that, have been consistent with the middle school. We've been, for many consecutive years now, significantly exceeding expectations for the last 8 years, and then other agencies that are ranking our school. But I think for such a small school, we offer many unbelievable opportunities for our students. and we are continuing to achieve a high degree of academic excellence and providing our students, I think, a complete educational experience. Same thing with the high school district profile. We're highlighting some of our, our academic strengths as far as achievement goes, and I think another strength for our high school is the fact that, we've been talking a lot about growth, and our targeted group outcome, had a really nice jump, 13 points, percentage of points up from 37.5 to 50.1. And then I think something that really is really important to kind of address, when you look at like our graduating class, and you look at GPAs, and you look at our ACT averages, and 25% of that graduating class is going to a four-year school, but yet we're really still achieving high academic excellence. And 25% were going to two-year colleges, and then we had the breakdown of students doing that, where in some schools where they have a high degree of students, 70-80% going to four-year colleges, and our numbers are a little bit smaller than that. But I think what it really highlights is that obviously at the high school level, we are a high achieving school. Our students are achieving really well. We are, as you can see, there was a history of our achievement that's been listed. So our students are achieving. We know that we need to continue to grow, but yet still, like our ACT scores continue to be strong year after year. And also the AP classes that we offer, there are many opportunities for students to continue to grow, get college credit. And once again, we offer a wide variety of awesome co-curricular activities that allow our students to have a complete educational experience as well.
Thank you. It's a nice looking document.
It is very nice.
Even if you don't read it all, it looks really good.
Well, kudos to the people who did it, who put it together. So I just supplied the information. So
Thank you.
Sue, I just want to give a big shout out to Sue Anchute. Like that, she's as close to an angel as they come. She's amazing. She's a workhorse, and Lauren who put the whole piece together.
Yeah,
So
it's
very grateful for
very
that.
professional looking, very nice. We have the Town of Sevastopol memo of understanding.
At this time, I would request that the board would make a recommendation to table this until December, as we are still in the process of coming to an agreement.
Surprise.
I make a motion to table it until December.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then we have the 911 sewer.
Where's your?
Well, it's back there by the sewer pond.
It's okay, you'll get it.
Service, 911 service tower, my apology.
So administration would like to recommend the sale of the property back on the Eco Lab, about estimated of 0.23 acres to the Door County for the 911 tower. Doing our due diligence inside of the contract, they are offering the purchase price of $29,000 with the ability to purchase back per se. Technology continues to advance. They no longer need the tower. We have first right of refusal to buy that property back at $1. All of those documents were inside of your board packet. Legal has reviewed them. Really appreciate the due diligence of the team and of the board in looking at that piece of property, but we'd like to recommend a sale.
I move to approve the contract to purchase real property from the Sevastopol School District by the County of Door.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. You own the most expensive piece of real estate in York County.
You can always come back for a visit sometime.
We will, don't worry.
Certainly got some impressive
So do you have anything that's happening legislatively that we need to talk
Oh,
about?
yes, a few things. It was interesting to read that Governor Evers has put up a holiday tree celebrating Wisconsin educators and school support staff. So I thought that was a nice gesture to recognize what's happening in school. It's called the Learning Tree Theme. And Lisa had mentioned in an email some concerns about the impact of social media on young people and a possible video for parents, and I did bring that up, Lisa, at the last WASB board meeting, and our Director of Communications, Brock Fritz, was interested. Right now, I know his focus is on the convention, but after the convention, I will follow up with him to see if that might be a possibility. And Assembly Speaker Voss has created a task force on protecting children. It will be chaired by Representative Lindy Brill of Sheboygan, and it will be addressing youth mental health crisis and negative impacts of social media. So there are some things out there that are taking place around that topic. Also, WASB, at our last board meeting, we approved the legislative agenda for 2026. And there are a number of areas that will be emphasized, including an emphasis on local school board authority, opposing unfunded state mandates, and affirming local control. Several steps on addressing staffing shortages. And at the WASB legislative conference, that seemed to be one thing, particularly that the Republican representative and the Democratic representative agreed upon, that we ought to be able to hire annuitants, rehire them out of retirement. There are still some folks who are saying this is double dipping and they don't want to see it go forward, but
I read that. How is that double dipping? Because that's like saying someone who's retired, collecting Social Security, and then takes another job, is double dipping.
yeah,
I've never
well,
realized that double dipping.
I don't think it is, but, and neither did the two legislators who were there, but there are some who do think that it is. So. Also, there is an effort to move ahead with consolidation in the school districts, particularly the smaller ones that are losing enrollment, and there are efforts in the legislature to provide incentives for that. I don't know where it'll go because they're kind of getting to the end of the year on their work, but it's there. Still dealing with some of the efforts of the federal government regarding where that whole education, Office of Education is going to go. So we'll see what happens with that. There are not a lot of things happening in the state legislature, but we could see a few things. I know there were hearings today, floor sessions. I haven't gotten anything yet today. I expect something will be coming out from WASB tomorrow as to what's happening. So that's it for now.
You know, I think there's somewhat of a move too. I mean, transparency on the school voucher system. I think there's people out, you know, legislators that are interested in getting more transparency on where their money's going and appearing on our property tax.
Yes. Green Bay has already passed legislation to put it on their property tax bills. All in the name of transparency. Taxpayers need to know where their money is going.
So the city of Green Bay?
Yes.
So each municipality
Yes.
could move to have that
Yes.
put on their tax
Yes.
bill?
Yeah. And there are several that have done that.
Because
Why don't we then?
it would take, well, town of Sevastopol issues our property tax bills. So,
Okay.
well, so
Well,
the town
because
they
you've got the
buy,
four town, yeah.
whatever towns are in their district.
Yeah,
So they would have to adopt that.
right.
But right now, you know, there was, on the internet, I think I sent you a key to it. There is a foundation, organization called the School Choice Organization. And one of their objectives is to separate the school district, Milwaukee Public School District, from the property tax support. That's one of their main objectives. So it doesn't mean that it would be a statewide movement, but the state of Florida already passed legislation to separate property taxes from public school support.
So the
In
voucher-
Florida,
so
we
the-
pay- every parent gets $8,000 for each of the students to apply for the schools.
But I mean, they're taking property taxes.
But you don't want that.
So the voucher, back to the voucher matter,
Yeah.
is that worth something to pursue with our towns?
I don't know if ours is
It's so small. I was gonna say, what is, I mean, from this.
It's $55,000 out of 12.1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably not.
0.00, whatever the
I
number
mean,
is.
it would be nice to have the 55,000 back, right? But
Yeah.
to put it on the tax bills, I think it's
We'll take the five.
not worth it for us.
It's not worth it.
It's a great talking point for the state of Wisconsin, I think, but not necessarily for us.
Yeah, there are many school districts that are really getting hurt by that.
Yeah.
Then I'll find a different project.
Okay.
There's also an effort in the legislature talking about decoupling, where the money would not come from school funding for vouchers, but it would come from general purpose revenue. And it, my opinion, it would further hide the issue, but there are a lot of people who feel that that's what should happen.
General, okay.
And then the federal level, the scholarships for private school attendance is another whole issue. So there's a lot going on out there.
Good. Okay, the district report card.
I take an opportunity to introduce an amazing administrative team that will talk about district report card for 24-25. A huge shout out because it takes a village to get the scores that we have. So with that, I will turn it over to Mrs. Margraf to kick it off. This year, we're going to look a little bit not only at the district perspective, but we also have the building perspective in there. And we'll talk about the strategies that we're looking at to move forward.
Well, thank you for that introduction. Thank you for your attention. We are pleased tonight to go over the 24-25 district report card and also the school's report card as well. And we're doing it a little bit differently this year. In the past, I've been up here and have taken you through the report card, but I'm very grateful for Mr. Schaefer and Mr. Hiltz, and also for Ms. Rosuski for their help in putting this together. And I just want to take a minute to say that each of us have a different perspective when we look at the report card. We each have a skill set to look at it and determine where our opportunities to celebrate are and where our opportunities for growth are for our students and our district. When we all four come together and look at this, it's a much richer conversation to be able to determine how we can improve instruction here for the students. So again, thank you for your help in putting this together. So, agenda for tonight, I want to review some background information on the report cards from the Department of Public Instruction with special emphasis on the fact that there are changes to this report card. Throughout the presentation, we will go over what some of those changes are and how that's impacted this year's report card. We'll also...
Every year since 2011.
One job.
You're one job. One job. You're not allowed to drive this anymore. Mr. Notes. Okay. We're also going to discuss our report card results, some reflection, next steps, steps that we've already taken and what we hope to take in the future, and then answer any questions that you might have. But before we do that, because there's so many changes this year in the report card, there's a 2-minute video that Department of Public Instruction provided for us that will help with the groundwork, so you'll have a better understanding when we go through the rest of the presentation. And
Oh, failed.
Do I get to try?
It's up.
That sounds like yes.
I bet we have a course for you at the tech school.
He's a better
You
speaker
can
than
do it,
he is
Stephen, you can
technician.
do it. Here comes Stephen, everybody.
Every year since 2011-12, Wisconsin produces report cards for schools and districts.
Yeah, that's very distracting. There we go. Good. Here we go. It's desktop, it's all color. That's my junk drawer. You made this like
One more time, see that?
Thanks, Stephen. Here we go.
Every year since 2011-12, Wisconsin produces report cards for schools and districts. Similar to the purpose of student report cards, these report cards help districts understand performance to improve opportunities for kids. It also helps families, educators, and communities understand how their schools are doing. Each report card looks at multiple years of data across 4 key areas, like achievement, growth, progress of students in need, or students with lowest academic performance, attendance, and graduation rates. Based on these data, schools are given 1 of 5 overall ratings, from fails to meet expectations to significantly exceeds expectations. But things have changed over time. Since report cards began in 2011, Wisconsin has improved how we measure school performance. Schools with more low-income students are measured differently. Student growth matters more. Academic progress is tracked uniquely, and absenteeism has a bigger impact. Using the old report card performance benchmarks is like using a GPS with 10-year-old information. The roads have changed, and if we don't update the map, we might end up on the wrong path to our destination. That's why, this summer, over 24 education leaders from across Wisconsin are coming together to update the thresholds for each rating category. They will review available data and recommend updates consistently. With guidance from national experts, this standard-setting process ensures school ratings reflect today's expectations, not yesterday's. It's all about making sure Wisconsin's report cards are consistent, clear, fair, and based on how schools are truly performing today. Learn more at dpi.wi.gov.
There's been a big push over the past couple of years to change the report card. They've done
Every
some-
year,
They've made those changes now. So this year's report card is different because of those changes, okay? But it's temporary changes. So a bit about the school and district report card. All public schools, districts, choice schools receive a report card annually. Report cards are released in November. This report card was released November 11th. And once that happens, that's when we can present to school boards, we can present to the community, we can present to the parents and let them know. All of our notifications, annual notifications that have to be put up are already up on our website. So thanks to Mr. T, he's helped out today, but a press release has gone out. And if you go to our website and you go under the tab for state reports, you'll be able to see all the public release of our district report card, the elementary, the middle school, and then the high school report card, along with a list of educational options. And then there's 2 support documents there for helping people to understand what does the report card mean, and to be able to answer questions there. So report cards are ready to go, and this is exactly what you're going to see in one of those resources. You just put in Sevastopol, and all of our data will be there for people to take a look at. Thanks, Mr. Schaefer. I think this is you.
Okay, so when I have the assessment versus the report card, obviously report cards are different than assessments. Report cards are scored using multiple non-assessment based measures, including attendance, chronic absenteeism, and graduation. We'll dive into that a lot more as we go along. It reports additional non-scored data, course and program data, 3rd grade reading, and certain state and local law violations. It uses multiple years of data, averaged across years for stability, with more recent years weighted more heavily. Obviously, they had a change in the report card standards from last year to this year, so that also plays a role. Go.
So the report card scoring, what they do is they take a look at a number of different priority areas. There's achievement, growth, they take a look at a target population and how they're doing, and then on track to graduation. At different levels, some of those things are weighted differently. For example, I can speak mostly to the elementary. The bottom two quadrants are 25% each. The two on the top, the achievement and the growth, as the video shared, your growth percentile is going to be higher, the higher your free and reduced population is in your district. Let's see, the interesting thing, if you take some of those formulas and you adjust them, for example, one of the districts that I compare our school a lot to is down in Whitefish Bay. They have a really low free and reduced population, they're 0.06. Their achievement is scored at 45%, where ours is only scored at about 25%, which is unfortunate because our students achieve very, very high. If you take their formula and plug our numbers into it, our report card score jumps by 3 points. So, but that was the design that is put out to try and focus on that growth, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think that's what I was talking about, the different quadrants. Here, then they take these scores and plug those in. So the achievement score of 89.8% would be scored at 28.2% for the district report card. Just a bigger chart of what I was talking about before. So in our district, the growth priority score is scored at 21.8. As we've shared with you at other meetings, our district percentage of free and reduced is lower than it is at the elementary level. We just have more families that sign up for it at that level. As the kids get older, families seem to do that less. So that gets averaged out over the entire district, and that gives us the 30%. Yeah.
So we just had a staff meeting with our high school, and we talked about that too, and we'll stick with Whitefish Bay because I use that school district, and also used it with our middle school staff because as we talked about the middle school staff, before I got here, they wanted to make a change in how they did things at the middle school, and that was one of the schools that they actually visited to see how they're doing things and wanted to come back and implement it. But at the high school level, growth percentage, or the weight of that growth has on the report card for Whitefish Bay is 5%. So it's really heavily based on achievement, and where we're at, Aaron did a great job of talking about that, but when you look at the disparity on that, it's really awesome that we have a focus on growth. That's a priority because, quite frankly, all of our students should be growing, and that's an important aspect. So I guess what might seem kind of difficult or unfair to some is still a great thing because we're making sure that our students are growing, and I think that's awesome.
So one of the points to that is each school size and their configuration impacts the amount that's included in the score. So it's really hard to compare school district to school district or school to school using the report cards. It really should be designed just like a report card from here to show you how we are performing and things that we can do for ourselves rather than seeing how other schools are doing. Some things that are new, as was mentioned at the top, there are some updates to the achievement-based scoring. Some of the cut scores have been changed. The test participation, there is a note that will indicate if you are under a certain level, because that will impact your report card score. It's less precise if you have too many students who did not test. Huge kudos to Mrs. Margraf. She really works hard to make sure that all of our kids test. So on our report card, you can see we have a 99.5%. I'm not sure how we got that 0.5% of the kids who didn't take the test, but I mean 99% is outstanding. So kudos to her. There are some other data points that are on the report card. The third grade reading, we have 85% of our students are reading at the proficient level. As you know from Act 20, there are students who have personal reading plans so that we can work on getting those students up. But you compare that to the state, which is at 50%. So we are significantly ahead of the state. That's on page 7 of the report card. And then another thing that was added was that we need to report how many incidents happen on school grounds involving our students that committed a law violation. And then you put that score out of 100 students. And our district has 0. Statewide, that's at 0.06. So.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yes.
And if you're, it's called Wisconsin Act 12, and that's new. Okay, so if you're looking at it or seeing that and want to know more about it, but that's new and added on the report card.
So, and then updated rating category score ranges as well for this particular program.
Great, so I'm going to take over here and talk a little bit about what's different about the achievement score. So historically, we've always used 3 years of data. Okay, this report card is only using 2 years of data. Reason is because there's been so many updates to the statewide assessments that they couldn't use those 3 years of data. So it's only 2 years of data, but for the next report card for 26, when we're here this time next year, it will be using 3 years of data. So there was just a discontinuation of the 23-24 scale adjustment. They needed to only use 2 because there were so many differences in the assessments or the tests that the kids were given, so it wasn't unfair to use 3 years of data. So
Why did they change the scales? What was?
Because the tests changed. So the types of questions changed, or the standards changed, or in the video that you saw that, you know, really looking at what are we testing the students on, is that relevant? The test always needs to change because education is changing, right? So because of those testing, you know, for an example would be for the forward test, they did less writing last year on the forward test, right? So they had differences in how the kids were tested. So they looked at that as an unfair to be able to use 3 years of data for that and only use 2. But it's only a temporary change of just this year. Okay, that's why it's going to be very difficult, and I'll get to it in a second, to put last year's report card and this coming year's report card and put them side by side and compare them. You can't do that. So we'll make that very clear that there are some things you can compare from the last report card, but there's some that you can't. Achievement is one. We can't compare our achievement score from the last report card to this one. And another piece, did you have a question? Okay. Another piece here that changed are the standard settings. So those accountability rating scores. These are the 23-24 rating scores, and the 24-25 have changed. So, you know, they've either gone up by 1 or meets expectation has come up by 2 as well. And that was an adjustment that they made as well. So that's another reason why you can't compare the scores, because they changed the range of the scores. If you are very interested in what you can compare and what you can't, this is a great resource that's up here as well. So comparable to the 23-24, this is a great resource for people to be able to look here. So you'll see that what you can compare is the overall score. Can't compare them. Can't compare the achievement priority area scores and also the target rate outcomes, target growth outcomes. You cannot, on track to graduation, and then the last one is the 3rd grade ELA and 8th grade math. You can't do that, but there's many things that you can compare as well. And that's the background of the changes, so now we're going to dive into how Sevastopol did.
So this right here, obviously is a, yeah, okay. Thought so. This is a screenshot of our district report card. You can see our overall score in reading of 83.9, and we are exceeds expectation, as well as other district information. Once again, the highlight of our achievement score of an 89.8, growth being a 70.8, our targeted group outcomes 78.9, and just so you're aware, that's like our bottom 25% performing students, and then our on track to graduation, which considers a few factors.
I always add in here a statement about our school district, and then just to add here, the scores that are right here that's what makes our overall score. So there are 4 priority areas that account for our district score of an 83.9, where we exceed expectations. I think this is me. Am I doing achievement?
You can do it.
Okay, so the achievement score here, a priority area, so we're going to go through the 4 priority areas and talk about them a little bit. But this is one, again, you can't compare from last year. But some really good things are happening even though you can't compare it. So our achievement score, which is a combination of our English language arts score and our mathematics score, is an 89.9. And I'd like to highlight up here that this district score was the same or higher than 97.1% of districts in the state. So it's just an outstanding score in regards to achievement for the district. A little more here, this chart is over here. We did a little bit of a comparison here, but this table over here shows students who are meeting or advanced in their testing scores. So in our ELA, last year we were at 73.1, and we had a jump of 1.4% because we're now at 74.5. So again, that's 74.5% of our students are either meeting or advanced in expectations for ELA. For mathematics, last year we were at 78.8, and we jumped 3.6%. That 82.4% of our students are either meeting or advanced for ELA and math, and I just want to say that that's exceptional. So great job, students, and great job, teachers.
I'm sorry, can you go back to that last screen?
Mm-hmm.
So our achievement score is the same or higher than
97.1%. Yeah. We've always had very, very high achievement. Last year was very simple. It was, you can't compare it, but I can say that it was a very high achievement score as well. But yeah, good things are happening here.
So is the state's overall achievement score higher or lower than
Lower. Significantly lower. Here is a breakdown of the schools. So we presented, the first one was just our district score, okay? But when you look at our elementary school, we are an achievement score of 93.6, middle school 95.1, and our high school is 78. And this just breaks it down in either math or ELA.
So what accounts for, as long as I've been on this board, elementary has always done high scores in the 90s, middle school always does in the 90s, and then the high school always drops down into the 70s. Why don't they continue the pathway in the 90s?
We'll address that because one of the things we're going to talk about is the continuous improvement, right? You were right. The scores in the high school are not as high as the other two.
I said as long as I've been on this board.
Yep, and I would agree with that. So that's what the work where the collective vision and the 4 of us together identifying and bringing our teachers on board to figure out what is it that we need to be doing, what professional development needs to happen, what change in mindset needs to happen. That's the work of this administrative team to make sure that it is the, on the frontmost of a priority.
The score has increased the last couple of years.
But
And the
it's
next
slow.
question is a
You're
78.
right, it has.
It has. I
It
think
has.
last year it was, this year, last year it was 3. I mean, it's
Getting there. So and again, it's hard to compare, right? But I do, there's still work to be done. We still have work.
It's not high enough, but it's,
But we're moving in a direction.
And
We're
I
moving in a
That's a better
direction.
comparison to show the high school has shown improvement versus comparing them to the elementary and middle, because there it looks worse. The other way you can kind of show that.
And this is an achievement, right? We've got other things to talk about as far as growth, the target growth outcomes, and on track to graduation. But this team, these numbers stick with us. We know that they're there. We know they need to continue to go up. But thank you, Mrs. Berry, for acknowledging that it has gotten a little bit better. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time.
Rome wasn't built like that.
Correct.
Do you think maybe in the high school that some of these tests are more based on challenging coursework? When you get to high school, you can take different pathways, right? You can take a very challenging academic,
I think that's part of it.
and maybe the testing is based on more challenging.
But then we have our ACT
When you talk
scores
about
that are-
comparing the forward exam to the pre-ACT and the ACT, which is our high stakes testing right at the high school, it's a different level of expectation. It's a lot more challenging and rigorous. So, if you think about like in the ACT, the importance of having a sound foundational background in algebra, right? Algebra becomes, algebra 2 becomes a little bit more sophisticated. We do have the pathway that, the accelerated pathway that happens in the middle school, so those students tend to do pretty well. But once again, the goal when you're looking at achievement and growth is we're trying to get to all students. And I think somebody had just said it, some of the changes that we put into place with some of our interventions and trying to meet every student and not just, teaching to the high. Our high school, like I said, had a really nice jump for the targeted growth population, which is our bottom 25%. So that means there's some really great dialogue and collaboration that's happening with our spec ed teachers and our regular ed teachers to help. And I think Mrs. Berry had touched on it. We are improving. It's just probably not the steps we'd all like to see, but I think there's a lot of different variables. One thing I do want to hit, because this is so important, when you're looking at the middle school, and if you're looking at the high school, we've had the same core teachers at the middle school for a long, long, long time. We've had, in our high school, a different math teacher repeatedly, and that also, that does have an impact. You wouldn't think, or you wouldn't want it to, but in reality, and that's where I think right now, our high school math department is really strong, and we're moving in a good direction, but,
Sure.
But
I
there's so
used
many
to be in
variables.
kind of Lukey's ear about this every year. And I'll say what I think he told me because he's not here, if I'm wrong. In elementary school, they're all, you're focused with this, you got your two teachers, it's always real focused. In middle school, you've got 4 or 5 teachers. In high school, he said they're going all different directions and there's all different teachers. And it's just more spread out, and hence, you don't have the strong focus that you had in the other 2 schools. I think that's what he explained to me.
But we always have opportunity to make sure that, like Mr. Schaefer said, every student is growing no matter what their pathway is. Okay,
And
that's
remind
the
you,
goal.
right?
That's the goal.
Can I recognize it, because what the state always shows me is with your elementary and middle school scores, that shows the potential of those students. And then something happens in high school where we're losing that potential for whatever reason. And we need to
That's the
find that
question.
potential. We need to find that reason and
Absolutely.
build on it.
Yes, and that's what I wanted to just reemphasize again. That's our work. That's the teacher's work. That's the conversations that are happening now. Okay. And I'm not on growth.
All right, so the definition then of growth, it really gets complicated. What the state does is it takes our students, it sees what their score was last time. It also takes a look at the background of that student, their socioeconomic status, their gender, their race, all of those factors, and find students that are like them in the state of Wisconsin. Then it takes all of those scores from all of those kids and averages them, and it takes a look to see how much have those students grown compared to how much our students have grown. So that's how the growth score is calculated. It's not that we can find those kids and say, okay, well, what are you doing with those kids that they're able to grow compared to our kids, and so on. But that's how that particular score is calculated. Our growth score is 70.8. It's the combination of the ELA, which was 66, and the math score, which was 75.5. This score is higher than 78.4 the districts across the state of Wisconsin. So we are growing our students. But one of the things that we did this summer, we did a data day. Without this information, we used our STAR test that we give 3 times a year, so we can kind of see things along the way, not just a single snapshot. And one of the things that we looked at is that we want our growth score to go up. So we came up with a number of different things that we can do to try and address that already starting this year before the report cards came out. These are the particular growth scores across the district. And there are a couple of numbers that are lower than we would like to see. But I'm happy that we were able to identify this particular topic this summer and already start working on it. So we're not behind the 8 ball now trying to figure this stuff out. So some of the things we're doing in ELA, for example, we are introducing universal design for learning. That concept basically starts with the learner in mind and works backwards in terms of putting lesson plans together. Rather than trying to come up with something that works for everybody, you try and find things that work for individuals or small groups in the classes. The Act 20 requirements that we had talked about the different benchmark testing that we do several times a year. As I mentioned before, we do those personal reading plans for kids so that we can make sure that they are on track to read by 3rd grade. And then, as I mentioned, the 5% growth increase is what we're targeting using our STAR testing. Some other things that we do, we've got the school-wide reading challenges, the Tundra Tales that we did this fall. In the spring, we do another reading challenge to see how far our students can get based on their minutes in reading. We use program-based things to try and advance students, meet students where they are to help them grow more. Freckle is something that ties right in with STAR. So the STAR assessment will dictate through Freckle, because they're the same company, what things that the student needs to work on. We use Ames Web to monitor the progress of our students. We come up with targeted interventions. Another program we use is the LILO. It's something that is more for the lower grade levels. It also ties back in with STAR. And then we've hired 2 multilingual teachers to provide early intervention for our ELL students. Similarly in math, we have the Universal Design for Learning, as I mentioned, the 5% growth increase, the Freckle use, interventions at the upper grade levels, Algebra Plus, Geometry Plus, and visual learning targets, taking a look at letting kids know what kind of things that they need to learn in the class before the class starts, so that they know where they're headed, and once they get there, that they know they've been successful. So putting those things in place, we are anticipating that we would see those growth scores increase.
So targeted group outcomes, again, just really measures the outcome in achievement, growth, absenteeism, attendance, graduation of students from the bottom 25% of our students from the prior year's test. And the interesting thing when we talked about this with staff this week is, they were asking about the numbers and what do they mean in relationship. Are we compared? Mr. Hiltz was talking about how on certain scores we are compared to other like students. But in this particular case, with targeted group outcomes, it really allows schools to focus on their own students and where they're at. So seeing where the gaps are, and then when the performance of the target group increases, and then it changes the overall performance and scores of all of the students. It increases. So one of the things that I think it really highlights is the focus for continuous improvement. But again, Mrs. Margraf and I have teamed really hard to, in promotion of collaboration and communication, teachers getting lesson plans ahead of time to our ML teachers and our spec ed teachers, so we make sure that we are accommodating our students and not teaching down the middle and making sure that we are using UDL, Universal Design of Learning, to make sure that we're creating opportunities for all of our students to learn, which is great. So these scores come from the performance of our students who are in most need of support. Some of the strategies that we are implementing this year and supporting PRP as part of Act 20, Title I intervention, differentiation, universal design of learning, multiple tiers of intervention. So in-class interventions is tier 1. Our intervention, we do have, middle school, high school, we do have English intervention. That's considered tier 2. And then we haven't really talked about Mrs. Hurst, but Ms. Deb Hurst does a lot of work here and offers that tier 3 intervention for our students. So we are hitting our students where they're at, and we're identifying them and then putting those supports in place. In class as well, and through the collaboration process, creating accommodations for students. We just talked about this again today, about removing barriers. It's really important that UDL, sometimes people might think like UDL is for special ed or ML students. It's really for all students, because any student that's coming to you, for example, I don't know if you guys know any children like this, but someone comes to you with like a struggle with organization, and they're coming in your class and you want them to write, and you're just saying, hey, write me 3 paragraphs, and they really struggle with getting their thoughts. An UDL version would be helping that one student or 4 students in that to have a graphic organizer to help them get their thoughts, give them sentence starters. So even though they might be regular ed students, we're using the UDL approach to make accommodations and break down, remove some of the barriers that are preventing our students from being successful. In-class modification support, and then of course our collaborative approach, which we are really promoting. I think this is the hardest we've ever worked on it, and place this on a high priority, that our students are our students, and that the differentiation approach is required from all people. Regular ed, spec ed, ML together collectively. It's not delegating responsibility to one. We are all together because our students are our students, and we need to make sure that they're all learning. So our targeted group outcomes, you can see the score. Once again, the differentiation of score, but elementary with an 88.6, which is really impressive. The middle school at 100%. And then our high school that made a 13-point jump to 50. So it's really been a priority the last couple of years, where we have really, really emphasized this a lot. And like we've talked about, the steps are, we see the progress going. The snowball isn't moving down the hill quite as fast in some areas, but there are a lot of things and a lot of areas to celebrate with what we're doing with our targeted group. The on track to graduation, this is just really measures when you see the score, how successful students are achieving. We look at things like chronic absenteeism, so that plays a role. Graduation and attendance. What have we done with absenteeism? Well, we've met with the Door County Services twice. Was a conversation actually initiated by myself, because I really wanted to make sure that we were really tackling the issues that we were having with absenteeism, and wanted to understand what other Door County schools are doing and get people to the table. And we had a nice team of people that met with them in the spring. And then because of that conversation, they actually reached out to have another follow-up meeting with us. So they came to our school, we had another follow-up meeting. We talked about some approaches, and one of the things that we're doing differently this year, which so far I think it's been really successful, is we've added a diversion coordinator, Liz Junion, as part of the process. So when we see a student starting to have some attendance issues, Liz Junion will step in and put some services and supports in place to get the students here. So we can try to do our best before having to do a truancy referral to make sure that we are doing everything we can to have these students here, and obviously remove like high double-digit absences and things like that. So that has been a priority, and we've done a lot to really push for that. I think I kind of jumped in on this a little bit, but so the monthly monitoring of attendance, I will say that Mrs. Tong and Mrs. Olson do a phenomenal job of this and letting us know and communicating with parents and communicating with us using you know, a universal implementation of Tier 1, 2, and 3 for MLSS, and collaboration, as we talked about, with the county attendance diversion, juvenile justice as well. And then I think another thing that's really helping us with graduation that we've really had a strong push is our students come to us with a diverse learning abilities and ideas for what they want to do after Sevastopol. And you know, some of our students want to go to college, want to go to four-year colleges. Some of our students want to go to right into the workforce. And one of the things I'm just really proud of what we're doing is we have the traditional pathway. We started the GED02 program. Mr. Shartner has done a really great job. Last year, I mean, we just had a tremendous success story. I don't think I'm allowed to use this child's name. I want to, because I think we all cried. Because if we would have just stuck with the traditional pathway, that student doesn't graduate. But because we offered another alternative, he got to walk with his peers, he got to graduate. He not only that, I got to say this one, but he had to pass science, and he was like a point or two away from like distinguished honors. And this was a student we struggled to get to learn. And we created an opportunity. And other ones that we've done is, you know, Passbooks, online opportunities, and we've done just wherever we meet our focus is really to meet our students where they're at. And I think that's an enormous beauty about our school. Is it's not like, nope, this is the one way you're going to do it, this is the only way that you can graduate, and we're fighting for our students to create opportunities. I don't know what else you would want a school to do, but it's awesome.
Can I just add one thing? This universal implementation of Tier 1, 2, and 3 MLSS, that's also a school-wide goal that we shared with you earlier as well. So, and that's those tiers where it's the relationship building, you know, with students and helping them with their social emotional learning, not just get through algebra class, right? There's other things that our students are dealing with that are preventing on track to graduation or the reason why they're not successful in the building every day. So we're working hard to the interventions that are academically, but also those interventions for the social emotional aspect of our students as well. So it's whole student learning. Thanks. Thank you. We are open and ready for questions, if you have any for us. I know.
It's a lot of information.
Good job, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I just have a quick, what is our free and reduced?
30.2
So we're down.
As a district, but
as a district.
as you go down in the levels, like community,
Right.
elementary is
But
35.
you had referenced that you compare us to Whitefish Bay that has a point.
Six.
Very low, so why do you use them if they're,
I take a look, because their achievement is very high.
with that low population of
Yes,
free and reduced,
Yes.
it's just a.
exactly. So I shared with you before, like School Digger and U.S. News and World Report ranks us very high. I like to see how we're doing against some of those school districts, and Whitefish Bay is one of them. So just to look at that.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you for the great presentation.
Do you have any data today? Tomorrow I go to my other school board meeting, okay? And it's a whole different world. Because a high school graduate is not a high school graduate. At TC, we have a lot of high school graduates coming out of the systems, but we have to spend millions of dollars on it. Elementary, this is reading, writing, and arithmetic, which they cannot achieve in order to be able to matriculate tech school. But we have a mission, and I think from the state statute, where we accept everybody, and then we have a responsibility to make sure they are successful, so we spend, what is it, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and all this stuff. So, I mean, we can pinpoint or board the schools that we don't have to worry about that stuff in the schools. So, on the state level, is there anything being done about a high school graduates and a high school graduates and a high school grad? Because that's where it all, that's where the, so we, okay.
I think
just
the
find it
piece that's
frustrating when-
really important here to remember, and the team highlighted it at the beginning, but please don't forget it. We can't compare, nor should we compare, a report card score against another district. And the report card score is really, it's no different than, I always use health analogies, right? I might be 100% good, and my doctor says I'm 100% good with a blood pressure of 130/90. Because of all the other vitals that are sitting behind that, they're not worried about my blood pressure, right? But if I'm over here and I'm a person that has diabetes, I have this issue, my blood pressure of 130/90 might be an issue. And that's the same thing with the report card, is that the state has done, in my analysis, a really nice job of trying to look at each individual district with the characteristics that define that district. So for us, with the 30% poverty, they really take that into consideration, along with the demographics, the 10–13% ELL population that we serve, to be able to say, based off of that population of students, how do we do, this is the growth side of it, how do we do in relationship to other students that look just like that? So Keith gets a 10, Sue gets a 20. Keith is male, right? I'm trying to think of the other demographics. Male gen ed student got a 10. Every other male gen ed student that got a 10 on the score is what's compared to determine that growth. Then that number is the average number of the growth. So it's like student to like student. And that's the piece with the report card, is there's no other district in the state that looks just like us. And so for us to say we're doing better than Gibraltar, or we're doing, not as well as Whitefish Bay, okay, yep, I take that into consideration, but Whitefish Bay and Sevastopol are completely two different districts. And so yes, it's important to take a look at it, but I really don't want us to get hung up on that comparison. What I wanted us as a board to hear is the work that we're doing to address the areas of opportunities for us that align to our strategic plan. So we talked last month about the strategic plan and the academic achievement and the components that we're putting into place. You heard those same components tonight as we look at our achievement to say, how are we going to focus on our secondary achievement? What are the things that we're doing? And that all aligns right back to the strategic plan. Melissa brought up the MLSS, right? We in Sevastopol, and it goes to the next agenda item, look at the whole child. So we're not just talking about achievement, but we're also looking at the extracurricular activities. We're looking at the behavior and the mental health of the students and putting support structures in place for the students to be successful, not only academically, but also life. You heard Mr. Schaefer talk about attendance, right? I think we are one of the best districts in the state that target our students, that start to indicate attendance. I have never seen a People Services Department work so hard to get students to school. It is absolutely incredible, the work that we do. So really wanted to just reinforce that it's a great opportunity to celebrate, because guys, those are awesome scores. We're 93% across most of those indicators across the state, right? So there's only a very few percentage of the districts that are performing better than we are in those categories. That's a great place to be. It's a great celebration. It goes to our staff, it goes to our students, but this administration team won't stop until we're at the very, very top. And that's a beautiful thing, is we're going to continue to strive to get better each and every day.
Thank you for that reminder, because I'm guilty of that, looking at the report cards and
It's easy
saying,
to
well,
do.
they're better than we are
It's easy
here.
to do.
We're worse than
just-
they
What
are.
are they showing that we're not, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's easy.
On the news, they had something from the state report card, I forget what it was, but they were recognizing 8 districts, and T.J. Walker Middle School was one of them. And I kind of was like, that was interesting, but I don't know what they must have been, they were recognized for something on the report card or something. Shiafton was one.
They had growth this year.
Is that what it was?
They had an increase in academic achievement, and thus ultimately, they had an increase in their score.
But anyway, that was.
So, yep. So but I just want to reiterate.
What do we always tell kids? You don't compete against anybody but yourself.
I'm just saying if they look at our middle school, I mean, we're grading too, so I mean, we might have been recognized. We're still,
Well, that was a
should be
great
recognized. for the
presentation,
great work.
thank you.
So what do you do with this information? How do you let the community know?
So you want to address that one? How we publicize the information, to put out a news press.
We put out a press release, we put it up on our website. It will go in all of the publications that the report card is out.
The other piece that I just want to remind the board of is that this is a measure. And one of the things that we do as a school district is look at multiple measures. So not only are we looking at the state report card, but we're looking at all of the other components inside of the system, from participation in activities to achievement scores internally and externally to perception, where are our students bringing Daniel to the board to have that student voice about the climate and culture of our district. So I don't want to put, like, the report card's great, but it's only a single metric.
Okay, thank you. Then we have a secondary course proposal for Spanish speakers.
Yeah, so the course proposal that's in front of you is was submitted by Shelley Stenzel. And a lot of great things about this is, so when you look at research and you look at what's the best thing to do for bilingual students, we want to give them acquisition skills in their native language as well as work on the English acquisition. So we want to provide that opportunity, and the really awesome opportunity that we have is for our middle and high school students. Shelley is offering a Spanish-speaking class for our Spanish students to kind of help do a lot of different things, but one is to devote some time, at least one class period a day, where they are working on their Spanish acquisition. And we're not just completely dismissing that. And then in the core classes, or when these students are in their other classes, their focus is on English. And then obviously it provides an opportunity for us to potentially work with our ELA team, as our Spanish teachers as well. But the really cool thing about this is the numbers, just for high school for next year, are anywhere between like 7 to 12, but it's more on the high end after meeting with Shelley before the meeting. And then when we combine the middle school students, we're talking about 20 students getting an opportunity to take a Spanish acquisition class and really focus on developing their language ability. Because in a lot of our collaborations, we've had a lot of conversations about with different teachers that when a student is in my class, and if I modify the assignment into Spanish, what is their Spanish ability? So we may have a 9th grader who is a 9th grader here, but their Spanish ability is 7th grade or 7th grade reading ability. So teachers are trying to modify that into Spanish, and then trying to look at how to tie English into that. This really gives us a seamless approach to do research practice and allow our students to have the opportunity to really work hard on their English acquisition, but then not ignoring their other language. And the progressive side of this, which I think is really exciting, if we can get this program underway next year, there is this, and I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but students who receive a certification of being bilingual, complete bilingual with proficiency, get a seal of biliteracy, which is a really nice honor. It goes on in the transcripts when they apply to college, so that is an unbelievable progressive step. And then we've also talked about potentially making AP Spanish literature offered and offering an opportunity to have, Mrs. Stenzel moving on and getting certified as an AP teacher. So really growing that, since our Spanish population is growing, we want to make sure that we're accommodating our population. So really, this is like a stepping stone. This kind of gets us started and helps us to meet the needs of those students.
Would this be credit bearing?
Yes.
Do you have any idea what percentage of our students English is a second language?
Jerry, you're asking great questions today. I don't know what the overall percentage
And I
is.
think that'd be really interesting to find out. Because I really think this concept should go down into the lower grades. These students come here with a gift. They don't realize it. Now they have to learn English. But they, by the time 6 years old, 7 years old, they are pretty proficient in English. They're still proficient in Spanish. I remember, which warned me, a Hispanic parent came here one year and said, the problem is that a lot of the Spanish kids don't want to speak any Spanish after they're like 15, okay? And I think, holy buckets. I'm just being dollars and cents. When you go into the marketplace and you are bilingual, that is worth thousands and thousands of dollars to you in the market. And to lose that. So I think this is a great program. I would even, you can't do it right now, but looking at how you extend that program back down to the grades to continue to build on that. Because I think there's a national thing in the North. I don't want to lose them. But it is a gift. I said, I remember our previous superintendent used to say, if you're bilingual, you go to work at McDonald's, you should be able to make $2,000 more a year in high school just being able to be a bilingual kid working at McDonald's. Because that's so much of a gift. And I think we have
So you're looking for approval of this?
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Further questions or discussion?
I'll just, more than just the local thing, from a military readiness standpoint, that it's not part of the ASVAB part, but you get you'll have to test in both enlisted and officer side, you can test into and be proficient. There's level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in those higher level proficiencies, you get paid more. And then you can, for the Spanish speakers, they can then learn Portuguese and get, certified in Portuguese. And so, even from a military readiness standpoint, it's actually fabulous. So learning academic Spanish is, because they're not, right now they're not getting that, they're getting academic English, but to get academic Spanish really does send those kids, keep that gift, when their brains are still moving.
Other questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I skipped one, we have to go back to the Sevastopol School District strategic plan and mission statement.
Thank you. One of the things with the strategic plan is really important is marketing and messaging. And currently, as a school district, we have 3 different mission statements out there. I shared with the board and the board member last week a little of the history of that. We have the district mission, which was created by the board several years ago when we had worked on the strategic plan. We have an elementary mission and we have a secondary mission. Secondary mission was established with Mr. Schaefer and his team when he first came on 4 years ago. It's a message that's kind of taken hold inside of the building. There's posters that are put out there, and so in conversation as a leadership team, we said we'd really like to create a unified mission statement so that we have one mission statement that's found on the website, that's used for marketing and messaging, and we're just consistent. But we wanted to make sure that our elementary staff was good with that, so Mr. Hiltz took this to the elementary staff last Monday at our in-service day. Unanimously, they said, let's move forward. So bringing to you tonight, we would like to have the mission statement for Sevastopol School District be be unified across the board, every building and at the district level, and it would be pioneering the next generation with a focus on high academic standards, character growth, and social emotional skill development, which lines very nicely to the presentation that you just saw earlier this evening.
I move to accept the mission statement as stated.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That academic calendar.
I would ask for the board to make a motion based off of additional time needed to postpone the calendar item until next meeting.
I would move to table the 2026-2027 academic calendar until the December board meeting.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then we have a proposed new hire, Joseph Aarons, as Title I-A.
This is a .5 position. It was a position that we've had historically. As you can see, based off of the data, we need to continue to work on our growth. And so we would like to recommend Mr. Arns as a .5 Title I-A.
I'd make a motion to approve Joseph Ayers as a Title I-A.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That concludes our regular business. I'll take a motion to convene to executive session.
Move to convene to executive session.
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. Wyden?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried at 7:27 PM.
I make a motion to approve the leave request of a district employee.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Our next meeting is December 17th. Are you having a staff Christmas something gathering like you had here last year?
So we have on December 18th is the holiday luncheon. That starts with some I think it's the 18th, I guess you're looking at me. The Christmas.
Thursday, right? It's the 17th.
Yeah. The performance of our littles, the singing and the band concerts, it kind of goes throughout the day, and in the middle of the day is our luncheon. And welcome the board to come at the luncheon. FFA serves the community. It's majority senior citizens that come. But we're excited to be able to do that again. And then we will be holding a staff holiday or winter party in January, location to be determined like we have in the past. Am I missing something?
Well, what I asked you about was the administrative staff did something for the staff last year. You all brought food, and I thought it was so much.
We served it, didn't we?
I don't know if we served it when we came, but I just thought if anybody wanted to help them out, we could bring something.
I think that was 2 years ago.
If you want to whip something up. No, I was here last year.
It was?
You guys had a whole lot of stuff up there, and staff just filtered in and out.
Yep, you were correct.
So maybe you're not doing that
We
this
have
year.
not talked about that this year. How about, I will give you information in my weekly board memos whether or not the administration team wants to do that. That completely has escaped my memory. And so the administration team put on a luncheon for the staff last year. We just picked a day and we all brought in different things, and then staff came in and out, just kind of said, thank you. And I'll be honest, the year's gone so fast, Lisa, that I have not even.
I'm not saying that you have to do it, I'm just saying you did it, and if you wanted
It
to
was
help.
it was really good, and I think staff really appreciated it, so I will get back to you guys on whether we do it or not. We only have I think part of it is we only have 3 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna be, you know, there's just a whole lot going on,
Leftover
so.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.